The stars were calm that night, so calm it felt almost unnatural. The sky stretched endlessly over Earth, sparkling with distant lights, and for a moment humanity could pretend that everything was safe. But far beyond the edge of the Milky Way, a dark shadow moved. A fleet of alien warships, enormous and black as the void, cut through space like a predator hunting its prey. Their engines hummed with quiet power, a sound that could shatter worlds if unleashed. Inside the largest of the alien vessels, commanders gathered around glowing displays, their sharp eyes studying Earth. They had called it primitive, fragile, unworthy. They had called humans weak. And yet, somewhere deep in their calculations, a tiny anomaly flickered, a small planet filled with unpredictable creatures who refused to bend. On Earth, in the quiet desert of Nevada, Captain Alara Vance stood on the runway of a small, barely holding together airbase. Her jet, sleek but battle-worn, sat ready, engines humming faintly. She ran her fingers along the metal, feeling every dent, every scratch, every scar that told a story of past missions, past victories, and past failures. Her heart thumped not from fear but from resolve. She had seen humans rise from impossible odds before, and she would not let them fall now. Alara turned to her squadron, her eyes meeting each pilot in turn. There were young faces and old ones, faces that had seen too much yet refused to break. "Tonight," she said, her voice steady but fierce, "we remind the universe that Earth will not kneel. They think they can take our home. They are wrong." The pilots nodded, some clenching fists, some whispering prayers. No one spoke of fear aloud. They didn't need to. Fear was real, but so was courage, and courage had always been humanity's secret weapon. Across the globe, humans were waking up to the same reality. In Tokyo, engineers scrambled through labs, fitting jets with experimental energy shields and advanced weapons scavenged from decades of alien debris. In London, civilians loaded supply depots, stockpiling drones and AI-guided weapons, turning every city into a fortress. In Cape Town, soldiers lined the beaches looking out at the dark horizon, knowing the enemy would come from the sky. Every corner of the planet prepared. Every human heartbeat carried the same defiance. We will fight. Alara climbed into her cockpit, feeling the familiar weight of the harness against her body. Her jet's engines roared to life, vibrating beneath her like a heartbeat in tune with hers. Around her the squadron joined in, jets igniting, their lights cutting through the darkness like 1,000 meteors. The desert air seemed to shiver under the sound, carrying with it hope, fear, and determination all at once. She took a deep breath. She thought of her family far away waiting for her safe return. She thought of the people she had never met, people who had put their trust in strangers like her to defend their homes. She thought of the young kids watching the sky, dreaming of heroes, dreaming of a world that could be safe. She thought of the aliens, arrogant, confident, certain of victory. She thought of how wrong they would be, and then the alarm came. Across Earth, alert systems blared, satellites tracked incoming ships, and millions of people looked to the sky in terror and awe. The first wave had arrived. Alien vessels descended like thunderclouds, blocking out the stars. Their weapons glowed with a cold blue light, scanning, targeting, ready to annihilate everything in sight. Cities braced, soldiers readied. Pilots lined up. Alara's voice came over the comms, calm yet filled with fire. "Formation Alpha, take the skies. Remember, we fly not because we want to, but because we must. And when we strike as humans. Unyielding, unstoppable, unforgettable." The jets lifted off in unison, leaving behind the safety of Earth's ground. They streaked into the night, trails of fire and light painting the sky, a declaration of defiance no alien could ignore. The wind screamed past their cockpits. The universe stretched endless and cold, but their hearts burned hotter than any star. Somewhere far away, alien commanders noticed the small, fast streaks in the sky. They paused, confused. These creatures were reckless. These creatures were fearless. These creatures, they were not surrendering, not now. Not ever. And in that pause, in that small crack of uncertainty, humanity found its first advantage. It was not in the size of their ships, the power of their weapons, or the technology at their fingertips. It was in their hearts, in their stubborn, unbreakable will to survive, to protect, to fight even when the odds seemed impossible. Alara tightened her grip on the controls, feeling every vibration, every movement, every heartbeat of her jet. Ahead, the darkness waited. But she was not afraid, because tonight Earth would not whisper. Tonight, Earth would roar, and somewhere deep in space the aliens would finally understand. Underestimating humanity was their first and fatal mistake. The sky above the Pacific coast burned with alien light. Massive warships hung like black mountains, firing beams that cut through the ocean and shredded cities. Smoke and fire rose from coastal metropolises, waves crashing over streets as people ran for safety. The world watched in fear, but humans did not cower. Captain Alara Vance led her squadron high above the chaos. Her jet shone in the alien glow, painted with battle scars from past missions. She could see the alien vessels, massive and perfectly coordinated, but their confidence made them predictable. Every alien strike had a rhythm, every movement a pattern. Humans were fast, adaptive, unpredictable, and that was their advantage. Alpha Squad split formation. Target their shields, then strike the engines. Alara commanded, her voice calm but fierce over the comms. The jets darted like lightning, weaving between alien beams, flipping and spinning through impossible angles. Human pilots trusted their instincts, their intuition, and each other. Fear was present, but it was sharpened into focus. They fought not just with machines, but with hearts that refused to surrender. Lieutenant Joran Mills, a young pilot with nerves like steel, zoomed alongside her. His jet jolted under alien fire, systems flashing warnings. Yet he smiled, adrenaline fueling him. "We'll show them, Captain," he said. "They think they can scare us. They're wrong." Alara nodded, pride swelling. The fire in the young pilot reminded her why humans were different, why they would never give up. Across the world, similar battles raged. In Europe, jets streaked across skies over Paris and Berlin, dodging alien energy beams that could level entire neighborhoods. In South America, improvised weapons, drones, and fighter jets worked in harmony, forming patterns no alien could predict. Everywhere humans adapted, repaired, improvised. Every city became a front line, every citizen a fighter. Alara's squadron dove toward the first alien cruiser. The ship was massive, its hull glowing with energy. Missiles streaked from human jets, small but precise. Explosions erupted against the alien shields, and for the first time the massive vessel shuddered. Alarmed, alien commanders barked orders, their voices sharp and harsh. Their troops had never encountered creatures so fearless, so reckless, so alive with defiance. The humans pressed their attack. Alara weaved through beams that could vaporize mountains. Her jet shuddered under impact, sparks flying from grazed armor. Yet she pushed forward, targeting the alien ship's weak points. One by one, missiles struck reactors, shaking the vessel violently. Aliens screamed in confusion. Their perfect formation crumbled under human chaos. Below, on Earth's surface, people looked up, astonished. Jets traced fiery arcs across the sky, weaving through alien cruisers like dancers in a deadly ballet. Civilians who had never touched a weapon felt hope rise in their chests. The humans were not defeated. They were fighting back. And for the first time, fear of annihilation felt surmountable. Alara's squadron regrouped above the battle, breathless but alive. "They're faltering," she said, eyes scanning the shattered alien formation. "They're not used to this. Keep the pressure up. Hit them wherever you see weakness." Her voice carried not just command, but faith. Faith that humans could achieve the impossible. Joran glanced at the destruction below, a city partially in flames. He clenched his teeth. "They'll regret underestimating us. Every life they threaten, every building they destroy, we will repay tenfold." The young pilot's words echoed across the comms, and pilots everywhere felt a surge of determination. Humanity's strength was not just in technology, it was in heart, in courage, in defiance that refused to bow. As the battle continued, humans discovered more weaknesses in the alien fleet. Their massive ships were powerful but slow to adapt. Their gunners were precise but predictable. Every time a human jet struck, the aliens recoiled, confusion spreading like wildfire. Ilara noticed it too. Their confidence, once unshakable, was cracking. Even in their dark command rooms, alien officers whispered in disbelief, staring at the fearless humans who refused to flee. By the end of the first wave, humans had achieved the impossible. Several alien cruisers were crippled, forced to retreat or risk destruction. Humanity had suffered losses, yes, jets downed, brave pilots gone, but the victory was undeniable. The aliens had underestimated Earth, and now that mistake would cost them dearly. Ilara hovered above the ocean, looking at the fires burning on the coastline. Smoke rose, mingling with the stars. She felt a pang of sorrow for those lost, but also a spark of hope. Humanity had shown that even against unimaginable odds, they could fight with cunning, bravery, and heart. They could adapt, they could endure, and they could ignite a fire that no alien power could extinguish. Her voice cut through the comms once more, steady, strong, unyielding. This is only the beginning. They came to conquer, but we will show them the price of underestimating Earth. We fight, we survive, we win. Let them remember the defiant fire of humanity. Somewhere in the blackness of space, alien commanders paused, shaken. They had planned for war, for strategy, for domination, but they had not planned for courage, for defiance, for the unstoppable spirit of humans who refused to surrender. And in that moment, humanity realized something incredible. The first sparks of defiance had ignited, and there was no turning back. The skies over Europe were chaos and fire. Alien warships hung like dark giants over the continent, their energy weapons carving destruction into the cities below. Smoke rose in thick columns, mixing with the red glow of burning buildings. But amid the terror, humanity fought back, not as machines, but as hearts filled with unyielding courage. Lieutenant Joran Mills roared through the sky in his jet, dodging streaks of alien fire that could melt steel. His hands gripped the controls tightly, knuckles white, yet his eyes burned with determination. Below him, Paris was trembling under alien assault, yet the human pilots refused to let fear take root. Every maneuver Joran made, every shot fired, was not just an act of survival. It was a declaration. Humanity would not bow. Captain Ilara Vance led her squadron in a perfect weave through enemy formations. Her jet shuddered under impact as an alien blast grazed the wing, sparks flying, but she pressed forward. She targeted a massive cruiser aiming at its reactor core. Her squad responded in perfect synchrony, missiles streaking across the night sky like bolts of defiance. The explosion rocked the heavens, sending shock waves that rattled even the massive alien vessel. On the ground, people stared up in awe and fear. Civilians who had never seen jets in combat now watched human courage displayed across the sky. Children pointed at the streaking lights, their eyes wide with hope. Families held each other tight, feeling the pulse of human will in every missile, every daring maneuver. Humanity's fight was no longer just survival, it was inspiration. Joran felt the adrenaline coursing through his veins. He saw a smaller alien fighter targeting a hospital below. Without thinking, he dove straight into its path, weaving and dodging, firing until the enemy ship erupted in flames. The children in the hospital yard cheered as he passed overhead, but he could not slow down. There was no time for celebration, not yet. The enemy was vast, and every victory had to be earned. Even in the alien ranks, confusion spread. Their command systems were designed for precision, for control, yet human unpredictability shattered their calculations. Pilots dodged, struck, disappeared, then reappeared where the aliens least expected. "They are reckless," an alien officer hissed, fear creeping into the metallic voice. "They fight with no logic, no fear, no surrender. How is this possible? Alara's eyes scanned the horizon. She could see the damage humans had inflicted. The once perfect alien formations were broken, some ships fleeing, others struggling to maintain control. But she also saw the cost. One of her wingmates, a seasoned pilot named Rena, had been hit, her jet spiraling toward the ground. Alara's stomach tightened. She knew the battle demanded sacrifice, yet every loss cut like fire. Joran, Alara's voice came through the comms, urgent. Cover Rena. Don't let her fall. Joran twisted his jet into position, firing at incoming alien fire with everything he had. Sparks and debris flew past him as he guided Rena's crippled jet to a safer trajectory. Finally, with a daring maneuver, she stabilized and landed near a safe zone. Relief washed over them both, but the sky was still filled with threats. The battle had no mercy. Every human pilot felt it. The fire inside, the relentless will that would not bend. Even battered jets, engines smoking, wings scarred, pushed forward with determination. They were not just machines in the sky. They were humanity's spirit made flesh and steel. Every human lost only strengthened their resolve. Every victory, no matter how small, reminded them that Earth was worth fighting for. Alara's squadron regrouped above the European theater, taking stock of their impact. The alien warships were faltering, their coordination breaking under the unrelenting pressure. Humans had proven that courage could topple technology, that intuition could outsmart cold logic, and that defiance could ignite even the darkest of nights. Joran glanced at the horizon, smoke rising from the cities below. We're not done yet, he muttered to himself. Not until they understand. We will fight for every street, every life, every heartbeat. The words were almost a prayer, but they were more than that. They were a promise. Alara, watching her squadron, felt the same. Her heart ached for the losses, yet it swelled with pride. Humanity was rising. Not from superiority, not from perfect weapons, but from raw, unshakable determination. The aliens had expected easy victory, but what they found instead was a force they could not predict. A force powered by heart, by love, by defiance. In the black of space, alien commanders recalculated, their confidence shaken. They had faced countless species across galaxies, yet humans were different. They did not simply fight. They inspired, they endured. They burned with a fire that no laser could extinguish. And that fire, that unbreakable will, would only grow. Alara looked down at the world below, cities trembling but alive, streets filled with human courage. She tightened her grip on the controls, feeling the pulse of Earth itself in her veins. We fight for every life, she whispered, for every soul, and we will not stop. The first sparks of defiance had become roaring flames. Humanity had survived the initial onslaught, and in doing so, had shown the universe what it meant to never give up. The alien thrones loomed over the Earth like dark, jagged crowns. Massive battle stations bristling with weapons that could crush continents. They were designed to instill fear, to remind humanity of its place in the universe. Small, weak, expendable. But now those thrones were trembling. Captain Alara Vance led her squadron toward the nearest command station. Her jet's engines screamed against the night sky as she navigated through debris and energy beams. Below, cities still smoked, streets scarred by the alien assault, yet humans moved with purpose, adapting, fighting, refusing to fall into despair. Each explosion above was a message. Earth would not be silenced. Lieutenant Joran Mills flanked her, his hand steady even as alien fire tore past him. He marveled at the chaos and beauty of the battle, the way humanity's jets darted like fire, precise yet unpredictable, a storm of courage cutting through the alien formations. Every strike against the throne sent vibrations through the massive alien structures, shaking their metal foundations and breaking their perfect formations. Alara's comm crackled with updates from the global human forces. Pilots everywhere reported cracks in alien defenses, enemy ships faltering under relentless attacks, shields destabilizing under repeated strikes. The alien commanders, once confident and cold, now scrambled to issue orders. Their voices, harsh and metallic, trembled with confusion and fear. "We underestimated them," one alien general hissed, pacing before a holographic display. "These creatures, they fight with no fear, no surrender. They do not care for their own safety, yet they strike with deadly precision." How is this possible? Ilara felt a surge of grim satisfaction as she targeted the main reactor of one of the thrones. Missiles streaked forward, piercing the shields. The explosion lit the sky, sending a shockwave through the nearby fleet. Alien ships trembled, their formations breaking apart as panic spread. The humans' defiance had become more than a threat. It was contagious, turning the enemy's confidence into chaos. Below, in the ruined streets, civilians watched the skies with awe. The humans fighting above were not just pilots. They were symbols of hope, proof that even in the face of unimaginable power, courage could strike back. Children pointed, adults whispered prayers, and families held each other tight, united by a shared understanding. Humanity would survive. In the middle of the chaos, Joran noticed a smaller alien strike ship closing in on a hospital. Without hesitation, he maneuvered into its path, dodging laser fire and returning precise shots. The ship erupted into flames, scattering alien reinforcements. Humanity's ingenuity and sheer audacity were unmatched. Each life saved, each strike landed was a spark of resistance, a roar of defiance that echoed across the battlefield. Ilara's squadron dove through the wreckage of fallen cruisers, pressing their advantage. They moved as one, a storm of determination and skill. Every hit against the throne sent alien soldiers scrambling, their precision replaced by panic. The massive stations, once symbols of invincible power, were now burning, structural panels tearing away in molten fire. Thrones crumbled before human audacity, a sight the universe had never imagined. Even within the alien ranks, fear spread like wildfire. Pilots hesitated, commanders shouted over conflicting orders, and the once unbreakable hierarchy began to fracture. They had planned for technology, for strategy, for overwhelming force, but they had not accounted for heart. They had not accounted for humans, for creatures who would risk everything to protect their home, to fight not because they had to, but because they could not live without hope. Ilara felt the weight of it all in her chest. Pride, sorrow, determination. Every loss was painful, yet every victory was proof that humans could endure what others deemed impossible. They had no guarantee of survival, no promise of safety, but they had courage, ingenuity, and unity. That was enough. The first throne exploded in a ball of fire, lighting the night sky with molten fury. Alien fleets reeled, formations shattered, and the remaining stations faltered. Humanity had turned the tide. What had begun as desperate resistance had become unstoppable assault. The aliens, masters of conquest, were now retreating under a storm of defiance they could not understand, could not predict, and could not control. Ilara's voice came over the comm, calm but burning with fire. This is what happens when you underestimate the human spirit. We fight for every life, every city, every heartbeat. You cannot crush what refuses to be crushed. The thrones are falling and we are rising. Remember this moment. As the night sky filled with smoke and fire, humanity's defiance blazed brighter than any weapon. The thrones, once symbols of alien domination, were now symbols of what humans could achieve. Heart, courage, and relentless determination. And somewhere deep in the void, alien commanders realized that the universe had changed. The humans were not just survivors, they were a storm, a force of nature, a fire that could not be extinguished. Humanity had broken the first wall. Thrones had crumbled, and the war was far from over, but hope, fiery and unstoppable, now burned in every human heart. The skies over the Atlantic burned with the chaos of war. Alien cruisers, crippled but still dangerous, drifted above the waves like wounded beasts. Human jets streaked across the clouds, weaving between deadly energy beams, every pilot aware that one wrong move could mean death. Yet they did not hesitate. Courage now outweighed fear, and humanity's fire burned brighter than any weapon. Lieutenant Joran Mills felt it in his chest, the weight of responsibility, the burden of protecting lives below. His jet shuddered under alien fire, systems warning him of imminent failure. Ahead, an alien warship aimed directly at a coastal city, its energy cannons ready to annihilate thousands. Joran's heart clenched. He knew what he had to do. "Captain, I can't let them destroy it," he muttered over the comms, voice tight with emotion. "I'll take the shot, even if—" His words trailed off as he twisted his jet into position, engines screaming, shields barely holding. Alara's heart tightened. She knew the risk. "Joran, no! There has to be another way." She shouted, but she knew it was too late. The young pilot's eyes were fierce with determination, burning brighter than the flames below. With a roar, Joran dove toward the alien ship, dodging beams with impossible agility. He fired every missile, launched every countermeasure, and then, when nothing else could stop the ship, he steered his jet straight into the reactor. The explosion lit the sky like a second sun, visible across continents. The massive alien vessel disintegrated, scattering debris into the ocean. Silence followed for a heartbeat, broken only by distant alarms and the cries of relief from below. Humanity had won the battle, but at a cost. Joran Mills was gone. Captain Alara felt tears sting her eyes, a mixture of sorrow and pride flooding her heart. He had given everything, a hero who had chosen the life of millions over his own. Around the globe, similar acts of heroism unfolded. Pilots flew beyond exhaustion. Soldiers held lines that should have collapsed. Civilians risked their lives to defend cities. Every sacrifice was a thread in the tapestry of human defiance, binding them together in ways the aliens could never understand. Ilara's squadron regrouped over the remnants of the destroyed alien thrones. Engines smoked, wings scorched, but their spirits remained unbroken. "We honor them with every strike," she whispered. "Every loss is a spark that keeps our fire alive." Across the battlefield, humans discovered another truth. The aliens were faltering not just from damage, but from fear. Their confidence, once absolute, had cracked. Pilots hesitated, commanders faltered, and even the largest ships moved as though unsure of their own orders. Humanity's courage was contagious, spreading like wildfire through the chaos of space. Alara spotted a smaller alien fighter targeting a supply convoy below. She pushed her jet to its limits, weaving through beams and debris. With precise fire, she destroyed the ship just above the convoy, preventing countless civilian casualties. Every action, every calculated risk, carried the weight of life and death, and every human who flew carried the hope of the planet. Yet despite the victories, Alara felt the sorrow of loss deeply. Pilots who had trained together, laughed together, and dreamed together were gone, scattered across the skies or lost in the oceans. Humanity was resilient, but every loss was a scar that would remain forever. Still, the humans pressed on. They had no choice. Retreat was not an option. The alien thrones were crumbling, the fleet in disarray, but the battle was far from over. Every explosion, every destroyed ship, every sacrifice strengthened the message. Earth would not fall, and humanity's spirit could not be extinguished. Joran's final act became a symbol. News feeds, comms, and transmissions across the planet carried the story of a young pilot who had given everything for the survival of millions. People wept, cheered, and whispered prayers in his memory. He had become the embodiment of what humanity truly was: brave, selfless, and unstoppable when defending what they loved. Captain Alara looked out at the horizon, seeing smoke rise from distant cities, jets returning battered but victorious, and humans everywhere preparing for the next wave. The sky was alive with defiance, every heartbeat echoing courage, every life saved a testament to resilience. She clenched her fists, voice breaking but firm. "We fight not because we want glory. We fight because we cannot let fear win." Every sacrifice, every hero, They are the fire that will burn through the darkness. Earth will never fall, and humanity will never bow. In the vast void of space, alien commanders now truly understood the force they faced. They had underestimated not just human technology but human spirit. And in the fires of sacrifice and courage, they glimpsed a power far greater than any weapon. Hearts on fire, united, defiant, and unyielding. Humanity had paid a heavy price, but they had also proven a truth that no invader could deny. When humans fight for their home, for each other and for hope, they are unstoppable. And that fire, sparked by sacrifice and fueled by courage, would only grow. The skies over the Atlantic and Europe were a war-torn canvas of fire, smoke, and light. Alien cruisers limped across the horizon, their massive hulls scarred and weakened. Human jets streaked past, agile and relentless, striking where the enemy was weakest. The balance of power was shifting. Humanity was no longer merely defending. They were taking the fight to the invaders. Captain Alara Vance felt it in every pulse of her jet, the energy, the rhythm, the heartbeat of the planet itself. Humanity had endured, adapted, and learned. Each strike had revealed vulnerabilities in the alien formations, and now, the humans exploited them with precision, cunning, and daring. Every destroyed cruiser, every downed fighter, was proof that the impossible could be achieved. Lieutenant Joran Mill's comrades, though still mourning the young pilot's sacrifice, pressed on with renewed determination. They flew as if he were with them. Every maneuver a tribute, every missile fired a promise to honor his memory. Courage had become contagious. Fear had no place in the skies where human defiance burned brightest. Ilara's squadron targeted the final alien command ship, the largest of all, the vessel from which the aliens had orchestrated their invasion. It loomed like a dark fortress, bristling with weapons, its shields glowing like icy fire. Human missiles would not be enough. The attack required strategy, skill, and the unbreakable will of pilots who refused to lose. Alpha Squadron, we hit the reactor directly, Ilara ordered, voice calm but sharp. This is our moment. We fight for every life, every city, every heartbeat on Earth. Let them feel what it means to face humanity. The squadron dived through storm and debris, weaving through streams of alien fire. Engines screamed, shields flared, and yet every human pilot held focus. They had trained for impossible odds, and now the odds were nothing compared to their will. Every strike was a statement. Earth would not be conquered. Below, cities watched the battle in tense silence. People held their breaths as streaks of fire blazed across the sky, twisting and spinning in defiance of impossible odds. Families whispered prayers. Children pointed in awe, and civilians everywhere felt hope surge. Humanity was not just fighting. It was showing the universe that it would endure no matter the cost. Ilara's eyes narrowed as she locked onto the command ship's reactor. The defenses were overwhelming, yet the humans were clever. Small, fast jets attacked weak points, distracting gunners, while heavier missiles struck the heart of the vessel. Sparks erupted, hull plates tore, and alarms blared. The alien crew scrambled in confusion. Their perfect strategy had crumbled. "Keep pushing," Ilara shouted. "Do not stop. Every strike counts." Even the alien commanders were shaken. Their confidence, once absolute, was now a fragile thing. Orders were shouted, contradictory and confused. They had faced many species in the past, but never one like humanity. Creatures who fought with creativity, daring, and an indomitable will. The humans were unpredictable, relentless, and terrifying in their courage. Ilara dodged another blast, her jet trembling under impact. She fired a final missile into the reactor core. The explosion ripped through the command ship, lighting the night sky with a blinding fury. Shards of metal and fire rained down as the massive vessel disintegrated. The alien fleet faltered, shaken to its core. The thrones were destroyed, their command broken, and the remaining ships scattered in panic. On Earth, cheers erupted. People ran into streets, crying, hugging, and laughing through tears. Humanity had not only survived, they had turned the tide. They had taken the fight to the invaders, and in doing so, had shown that courage, unity, and determination could overcome even the most terrifying power in the galaxy. Alara's voice cut through the comms, calm, proud, and filled with fire. This is what happens when you underestimate the human spirit. We fight not for ourselves, but for everyone who cannot fight. Remember this victory and let it remind you that Earth belongs to us and we will protect it with every heartbeat. Even in the void of space, alien commanders understood the truth. They had underestimated humans, and that mistake would define their defeat. Humanity had fought, endured, sacrificed, and now they had claimed victory in the skies. The turning tide was clear. The universe had learned that humans were not prey, but a storm that could not be controlled. Alara looked down at the planet below. Cities battered but alive, people inspired, pilots triumphant. Her chest swelled with pride and sorrow. For the price of survival had been high, yet the reward was greater than any loss. Humanity had survived the impossible, and the fire of defiance now burned brighter than ever. The aliens may have come to conquer, but they had learned a lesson they would never forget. Earth was defended by creatures who could not be broken. And in the hearts of those humans, the fire of defiance, courage, and hope would never die. The sky over Earth was a canvas of smoke, fire, and fading beams of alien energy. The battle that had shaken continents and scarred the oceans was finally coming to an end. Human jets, battered and scarred, still patrolled the skies, vigilant and proud. Below, cities were in ruins, but life persisted, resilient, defiant, and unbowed. Captain Alara Vance hovered above the Atlantic, looking down at the remnants of the alien fleet. The massive warships were retreating, their formations broken, their thrones destroyed, and their confidence shattered. Humanity had done what no one expected. They had survived, fought back, and turned the tide. The aliens would carry this defeat across the stars as a warning for generations. Even as relief washed over her, Alara felt the weight of the cost. Friends, comrades, and heroes had been lost. Lieutenant Joran Mills's sacrifice haunted the skies, a beacon of bravery that had inspired every pilot. The loss of so many lives left scars on hearts that would never fully heal, yet those same hearts burned brighter than ever, carrying the memory of the fallen into every act of defiance. Across the world, people emerged from shelters and ruins, staring at the skies in awe. Children ran into streets, pointing at human jets still streaking across the clouds. Families embraced, tears flowing freely, a mix of sorrow and relief. Humanity had been tested and had not broken. They had endured, and in doing so they had reclaimed their home. Alara landed her jet on a scorched runway, engines smoking. Pilots disembarked, exhausted but alive, faces streaked with sweat, grime, and tears. They embraced one another, shaking hands, patting shoulders, sharing silent promises that the sacrifices would never be forgotten. Every pilot, every soldier, every civilian had played a part in this victory. Every human heartbeat had mattered. The alien commanders retreating into the void would never forget the lessons of Earth. They had believed in technology, in overwhelming force, in intimidation. They had not counted on courage, on ingenuity, on hearts that would burn brighter than any weapon. Humanity had rewritten the rules of war, not with cold machines, but with fire in their souls. Alara walked across the tarmac, gazing at the horizon. Smoke rose from distant cities, but the world was alive. Birds returned to shattered trees. Children's laughter began to echo through the streets, and the first steps toward rebuilding began. Humanity had survived the impossible. They had endured when the odds were insurmountable. And they had triumphed when others would have surrendered. Her voice, calm yet full of fire, came over the comms. Listen well, all of you. Today we have proven something that no weapon, no army, and no force in the galaxy can ever erase. Humanity does not bow. Humanity does not break. And humanity will always rise, no matter how dark the night. We fight for our home, for our people, and for every life that matters. Remember this victory and carry its fire in your hearts. Across the world, humans cheered, cried, and whispered names of the fallen. Every life lost had been honored, every hero remembered. From the ashes of destruction, hope had grown, and that hope burned brighter than any star in the sky. Humanity had faced annihilation and emerged stronger, united and defiant. Ilara looked up at the night sky, now calmer, yet scarred by battle. The stars shone through smoke and clouds, reminders that the universe was vast and full of unknown dangers, yet she felt no fear. Humanity had faced the impossible, had fought with courage unmatched, and had survived. They would continue to grow, to adapt, to defend their home, and to inspire those who believed in resilience and heart. Somewhere deep in space, alien commanders would recount the day Earth refused to fall. They would whisper of humans who fought not for conquest but for life, for love, for home. They would remember the fire in the sky, the courage that burned brighter than any weapon, and the spirit that could not be broken. Ilara smiled faintly, her heart heavy and full at the same time. Humanity had paid a price, yes, but they had earned something far greater: survival, pride, unity, and the knowledge that no force could crush the human spirit. The planet was scarred, but it was theirs. The future was uncertain, but humanity was ready. And so Earth remained defiant. Thrones had crumbled, fleets had fallen, but the hearts of humans burned eternal. Courage, sacrifice, and unity had carved a path through the darkness. Humanity had survived. Humanity had won. And somewhere in the quiet of space, the universe would remember the day the people of Earth refused to surrender. The fire of defiance would never die.